Alrighty, so today we are going to be setting up a mini DIY herb garden in my aquarium. As you can see here in the shop, this is obviously my aquarium shop. We have a lot of live plants growing in here. I've got things hanging from the roof, but at the moment I'm growing a ton of plants out the tops of the tank. So you can see around here, we're slowly filling out the entire room with a bunch of different plants. If you guys are curious, I'm going to make a video on the different types of plants I use for the tanks, but they're really, really good because firstly, they filter out a lot of nitrates and stuff in the aquarium, so they actually do a better job than normal aquarium plants at taking out the nitrates. So that's a really good benefit. Secondly, they look really cool. In my opinion, it makes the whole room look really alive, so that's an added benefit. But I thought, I can't eat any of these plants, and basically they all are literally just here for display. I can take cuttings and sell them to people who also want them in their tanks, but I can't really eat them all. Well, I can't eat any of them actually. And I've seen a lot of things online about aquaponics. So aquaponics is basically using an aquarium or a big mass of water with fish in it to create and grow different vegetables in like a little garden. What we're going to do today is the easiest form of aquaponic that I could think of, and that's growing some herbs. So we're going to try other things later on, but if you come down here, you can see we've got herbs that I've just gone to the big box store and bought. So you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of plants. I know for sure that 2 should work, and the other ones I've just researched online, easy aquaponic plants, and hopefully they work. What we have here is some basil. This should definitely grow, but we'll see. Mint, so we can make some lovely mojitos or something like that if this does grow. Then we also have some chives, thyme, sage, and some oregano, or oregano, however you want to say it. The way we're going to be doing this is really easy. All you're going to need is some core flute. So you can see here I've bought a big sheet of this stuff. It's called Sunlight. It's polycarbonate sheeting. It's like, a lot of people use this for DIY aquarium lids because it doesn't break and it's really lightweight. A sheet like this is like 25 bucks, which is kind of pricey. But that's all right. We can make like 6 different lids with this, so that works out okay. To do this project, you're going to need definitely high light environment. So I can't grow any of these things out the back because there's just not enough light. And there's a specific spot in the room that I've chose to create this DIY garden. So you can see here, we haven't actually sealed up the roof, and I'm in a warehouse, so we actually get natural light coming through here all day. All of my plants in this room are trying to grow to this spot. So you can see like these philodendrons here. This is Philodendron New York, and then there's some gold pothos here. They're all trying really hard to get up in here because this is obviously where the sunlight is. So these are actually going to have to be moved now, but you'll see the roots that have started to come through, and these have only been in here for like a few weeks. So we'll take these plants out. So you can see those roots starting to come through there. This is literally probably 3 weeks worth of growth, a new leaf even too. This is really, really good for the nitrates. And then we'll just put the garden on this side. And we'll take this as our template for our core flute. So what we're going to do is literally take a piece of this, drill a few holes in it, and turn it into a garden. Take the factory edge here, put the template lid on top, get it all lined up. Now I've just got a Stanley knife here. You can just cut it however you want. But just cut a piece of lid to the size that you need. You can see I've already kind of etched it out a little bit. I have to cut it from the other side now. Cool. The mini DIY herb garden lid. Oh, it's just beautiful. Perfect. Alrighty. So now what we got to do is mark off where that edge is, because otherwise we won't be able to plant anything. Just mark off here. Can't plant from in there to here. So we got all this area in here to plant. Perfect. Okay, so there's our lid. This is where it's going to sit on the edge of the tank. So we've got all this area in here, basically. You don't have to do this on your lid, but I just wanted to not make a mistake. So we've got 6 herbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these herbs are going to be amazing for soaking up the nitrates of the fish in the tank and also hopefully eating. So basically the idea is that in this lid, you can see where I've drawn the X's. I've just literally just guessed it. We drill a hole, and then we literally put the stem of the plant in that hole, just enough where the roots are sitting in the water of the tank, but the plant itself is out of the water and above the lid. We've got to figure out how big these plants are. So I'm going to take them. This is the basil here. This is the disgusting worm box. Unpot the basil. So we'll just carefully shake it off. We've got 2 plants here. So all this soil we don't really want on the plant. As you can see in here, we're going to come down and shake off all this dirt. Cool. So you can see there's our basil plant. So the idea is we drill a hole about this big, and then the plant can sit in the jar like that. It'll spring up over time, and these roots will just grow down into the tank. We'll just drill a hole. Get this through. I reckon if these roots break, it's not too much of an issue. So I want the plant ideally to be sitting kind of like that. Now I'll put this in here. You can see the ram's already eating the roots. We'll see if that becomes an issue too, like the fish eating the roots, I don't know. Because they're pretty weak roots. All right, we'll take the lid back down and we'll start doing some more plants. I reckon the mint will be the best one. So you can see right here where those roots are gonna come out, hopefully, if the freaking fish don't eat them all. Chives. Oh, it smells like dinner now. Next plant time. I feel like this has a good chance at surviving. Dude, that smells so good too. It smells like lamb or something. Perfect. Sage. And then finally, oregano. I don't feel like this is gonna do that well, but we'll give it a shot. 2 plants. There we go. And there we have the herb garden. Not sure all the roots are kind of in enough. The thyme might have a chance, I don't know. I guess only time will tell. I reckon that's kind of it for now. Now it's up to the plants to do their part. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but it'll be fun to see if it does work. And we'll give this a few days to settle in, and I'll show you guys it in a month and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, all right, sweet. Okay, so it's now been a week since we set up our little herb garden up in this top tank. It's really hard for me to get up there and record it, so I'm just recording it down here. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on how all of our little herbs are going. So I've already learned a few things in the quick 7 days that this has been set up. We've got plants that are doing really well, and we've got plants that are just kind of barely coping with what we've thrown them into. So the plants that are doing the best are definitely the basil and the mint. The mint's doing the best by far. It's growing like crazy, and it's going like right up, trying to get to the sunlight and doing a really good job. The basil's settled in really well. It hasn't grown much, but it's sending down new roots, and it's just overall settled in really well. The thyme is doing okay. It's starting to grow and has definitely put on a little bit of new growth. Its roots aren't doing the best because a problem we have is all these angelfish that you can see behind me have actually been eating at the roots as they come down. So this is obviously inhibiting the growth, but I just want to keep the plants all in there and see how they go over the long term. Like, they haven't died off from this. They're just kind of, you know, getting pruned a little bit every day. So the root system on the thyme's not doing the best, but the plant seems to be growing and seems to be doing okay. The chives are definitely doing okay. No real new growth yet. They might have gotten a little bit bigger, but it's only been a week, but they haven't died yet. The plants that aren't doing the best is definitely the sage and the oregano. The oregano's melted back quite a bit, and there's like 1 or 2 stems that seem to be alive, but I'm not too sure if it's gonna pull through. We're just gonna have to wait and see. It just doesn't seem to really like what we've thrown it into, which is no surprise. And the sage is doing okay. It's put out a few new leaves, but it just, to me, doesn't look to be doing the best. The thing about the sage is a few of the stems around it have died off and melted back, and there's like one main one that's just coming through and sending up new leaves. So there's 2 new leaves on that stem, but I'm not entirely sure whether it's gonna pull through. But so far what we've learned is the mint loves it, and the basil seems to like it as well. So I think those 2 are gonna do the best. We'll see with all the other plants how they go, but that's what's happened after 1 week. So it's been 2 weeks since we set up our herb garden, and I've got a little update for you guys on how all the plants are going. So if you come on up and have a look at our herb garden, you'll see that some stuff's doing really well and some stuff's dying. So we've unfortunately lost our sage for sure. This is definitely long gone. That didn't make it. This one's doing good. This one's dead. Our chives are still alive, and oh, actually they're looking a bit shit too. They haven't made it, but I think this is for a few reasons. The mint is doing fantastic, and you can see it's literally grown like a solid 8 inches. It's shooting right up, it's growing really well. So that's good to see. The basil's also doing okay. It's sending out new roots down below, but it's also got some new growth coming out the top. I think some of the plants are struggling a little bit because the angelfish keep nipping at the roots. They look okay, but like you can tell the fish are just eating at the roots. So like the chives the ones in this tank aren't doing good, but like on the other side of the room, I planted the extra and you'll see it's actually doing really well. There's some bits that have melted back, but there is still new growth coming through and it seems to be doing okay. I guess it's all dependent on what tank you're going to put these herbs in. Obviously the mint's a fantastic one. I think the basil's a good one. Yeah, I mean, it was just an experiment to see what would happen. I think we'll keep going and seeing how these plants continue on for the next 2 weeks and see how they settle in. But yeah, it's been a fun little experiment. So it's now been a month since we set up our DIY herb garden in the top tank above. I'm back with the results. So the whole project was kind of a little bit of a fail. Over the last few weeks, I think the plants finally realized that they were stuck in water and everything that didn't like wet feet completely died. The only two things that survived the longest are the mint and the basil's not even looking that good anymore. So the mint's doing fantastic. I mean, the mint's definitely tripled in size and grown super well, but all of our other herbs have just completely died and some of them there's not even herbs left there. So am I surprised by this? Not really. I don't think I thought this would work that well. I wanted to give it a go. I definitely knew the mint would grow, and when I was talking to other people, everyone thought the mint would grow, but the other ones didn't do that good. I think some of the other plants would have worked better if they were in a different setup. So I think the concept definitely works. I think the positioning of it in the fish room, being in a top tank with larger fish, definitely didn't help. So if this was in like a tank with some shrimp and some endlers, I think it would do so much better. Like the plants might have had a better chance of surviving because a lot of them didn't really get to settle in because their roots are always being nipped at. So this just obviously irons out the super weak ones, but I definitely feel like the chives could have done better and some of the other plants definitely could have done better too. Like the basil might have had a better chance of growing and definitely sage I don't think will work. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really tricky one to call because all these plants, I just wanted to test and see if they worked. So I guess in essence, if I was going to do this again, what I would do is definitely put it into a tank with smaller fish that aren't going to eat the roots so much. I think I'd just try and use things like mint, basil, chives, and really give it a proper go. So yeah, I don't know, like it was a little bit disappointing. I was expecting to have like a full DIY herb garden, but I mean, in the end, it did kind of work. Like we did get a few plants, but it's just interesting to see how they all went. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.